All right. All right. This is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Before I even get off my train of thought here, I noticed that old Mark Stoops from Kentucky, after getting whooped by Louisville, I think he got beat like 41 to nothing. They decided to pull the plug on him. Well, I think in that situation, it might have been time for Stoops to move on if they hadn't fired him. Um, Programs kind of got stale. When he first got there, big shot in the arm, played good defense, rattled some cages in the SEC, but they just could never seem to get over that hump. They could be in a lot of close games and they just fall apart. They just couldn't finish. And now that you have the NIL, that you can go out and pretty much flip teams overnight if you get the right combination of players. Patience is just not there anymore. And when you look around, you're Kentucky, and you look around at some of these other schools that have performed worse than you in their history of football, i.e., Indiana. If they can do it, why can't we do it at Kentucky? That's the way they feel like. We can win at basketball, but football, we just can't seem to get together. Now that the playing field's been leveled, we still can't seem to get it together. So what we need to do is move in a different direction. And by getting rid of Stoops, that opens the door to that. So the question is, who are they going to get to replace him? He's not the only one. Jonathan Smith? He got the axe at Michigan State. And to my understanding, they've already moved to hire Pat Fitzgerald. He's the guy that used to play for about my age. I remember when he played for Northwestern, and he got into coaching and stayed there as an assistant and rose to the position of head coach. I forget, some kind of scandal took place a couple of years ago. If that hadn't happened, he'd probably still be at Northwestern today. But from my understanding, he's going to take the job at Michigan State. Cal coach, he got fired. Coastal Carolina got rid of Tim Beck. A little surprised at that. And a couple more coaches going to be on the hot seat. If you look at my alma mater here, we were playing pretty good football 2-3 years ago. And the coach we had to turn things around, because his pay was so low as compared to other head coaches in college sports, he decided to resign and go be an assistant. I don't know exactly where he landed, but he's in a place where he's making more money than what he did as a head coach. Gain more experience on the other level, maybe a pop up one day as a head coach at a bigger school. But the guy that replaced him, he was all right, but then it seems to be getting worse. So I don't know what the rumblings are at this particular time up in Tallahassee. But if they don't get rid of him this year, I guarantee you, if you put together another subpar performance, then they're going to get rid of him. And that's just the way it goes. But Lane Kiffen, on the other hand, he got introduced as the new coach at LSU. And stark contrast in this interview than what he had when he left Ole Miss. He seemed to be in shock that Ole Miss didn't want to have nothing to do with him anymore after he decided to vote. I don't know what he expected. What he wanted to do was coach the team in the postseason. But hell, if you turn your back on the team, why would you? I wouldn't want to. I mean, if you're telling the people that you want to have nothing to do with them, and you still want to be their coach, he just seems surprised at the reaction from the Ole Miss people, and I don't understand that. But on the flip side, he goes to Baton Rouge and talking about how great of a place it is and how this place is built on champions, and we're going to continue the legacy and all the things he's going to do. He's pretty much saying all the right things. But as I listened to that first interview when he left Ole Miss, he was torn. His heart was still in Ole Miss. He wanted to finish what he had started. But it's like I told you before. When you got somebody and somebody's trying to get you, and I use the metaphor of your woman, find out that somebody's trying to get you, and she comes to you and say, look, what's this I hear about Charlene or whatever her name, telling everybody you guys are an item. We're going to be an item. and you didn't shut it down, and you don't tell her that you shut it down. Now she's looking at you different. Now, as time goes on, and I'm talking minutes and hours, she starts to distance herself from you. And eventually she don't want nothing to do with you. So even if you didn't want to really go with Charlene, you really don't have a choice now because you didn't put it down as to what direction you really wanted to be with. Did you want to be with your old lady or you want this new chick? Well, Lane Kiffen chose the new chick. Old Miss was an old lady and she got spurned. And because of that, they don't want to have nothing to do with him anymore. And he seemed surprised by that. But he seemed to rebound real quick. When you talk about the virtues of LSU, as much as LSU has won over the last 20 years, it's still out the bell cow of the SEC. That's unless somebody takes over the next 100 years and dominates the way Alabama has done, well, I think the last 90 years, then they can become the bell cow. But the things that LSU wants to be is where Alabama is. And I don't think that they're going to get there. I don't give a damn what coach you get. If you don't come up with the right mix of players, especially a quarterback, then you can't play. So you pay Kiffen $20 million a year if you want. You don't have a quarterback, you can't play. And what he's probably going to do, I don't think he's going to go get Chambliss. I think what he will do is go find another quarterback and develop him. But Nussmeier, I never saw him as being that great of a player. And that's the biggest problem LSU had. Once Daniels left, and there was nothing else. And Nussmeier just not good enough. I know he put up some yards, but that doesn't mean anything. You throw around the yard all you want. But if you don't score enough points to win, who gives a damn? And that's what Nussmeier's problem was. All right, JC, what's going on, man? I was wondering what team is this? What are you talking about? I got my contacts in today, so I can't really see like I want to. All right, yes, Mr. I don't know what that's saying. All right, what team is this? I don't know what team you're talking about. All right. So I asked the question, do you feel that hit on Jackson Dart was legal last night? Most of you are saying yes. And I'm excited about that because that's what football is. You're going to play the game, you're going to get hit. But football has been so watered down now that when a guy gets a legal hit, that's vicious. People want to come to the defense like you did something wrong. You see the way the guy was the number 84 for New York, jumped up and he wanted to fight the guy. He didn't come at him real aggressively, like he really wanted to hurt the guy, but it was just a big skirmish there, and no harm, no foul. But the fact that he got the reaction is because the way that football is watered down nowadays. Dart's going to get killed. People have been telling him, you get down and protect yourself. He won't do it. He's just running down the sideline like you're playing Little League or something. One of them guys is going to take his damn head off. And I tell you guys, the way to really change a game nowadays, especially in this soft era, is to put a hit on a quarterback. And if he's going to give you the opportunity by running down the sideline and not stepping out of bounds, I say take the shot at it. Now, could he have done something else just to push him out of bounds? Yeah, he probably could have done that. But he had a chance to lay a shoulder into him, and that's what he did. And the reaction from the Giants, like the man committed a crime. But hell, that was legal. There was no foul on the play. The only foul was the reaction that they called on the Giants. They called unsportsmanlike on 84. I thought it was great. And what I think they should do, they should take the training wheels off the defense and let them play some football. A lot of these guys running across the middle like they got a birthright to do so because they know they're not going to get hit. But when I played, shit, you run across that middle and talk trash and all that, okay, we're going to put a hit on you. And the remarkable thing about it, when somebody gets hit like that, it wakes the other team up. And I don't know if they had a vendetta against 84. I mean, not 84, but number 53. But New England, they actually started hitting after that. There was some vicious shots late in that first half last night. And the Patriots out physical the Giants. That's why they were up 30-7. I don't know what the final score turned out to be, but they actually out hit the Giants last night. And that's what football is about. Hit or be hit. And those who hit the most are going to win. And the Giants got out hit last night by New England. And I thought it was great. But as far as the quarterback go, you put those rules in place to protect you, to slide. I know he's 20, 21, 22, but he's going to be 26 in a minute. And all those hits he's taking unnecessarily now is going to reduce his career. So he needs to hurry up and tighten up. All right, let's see what we got here. Good coaches throw in good recruiting. The LSU would get a good quarterback. All right, now, here's the deal. You guys say that like no other coach at LSU could recruit. They didn't have no great quarterbacks when they did win a national championship. Secondly, Brian Kelly, he got Jaden Daniels to come in there. They didn't win a national championship. He got a Heisman. So it's not like they all of a sudden going to start recruiting because you got Lane Kiffen in there. What's Kiffen going to do that nobody else can do? If he can't get the players that fit what he wants to do, it doesn't mean a thing. That same player that flame out with LSU can go down the street and get with a team that fits his style, and it'd be a whole hell of a lot better player. So it don't make no difference about what school you go to. Does it fit what that school is trying to do with your abilities? So it's Kiffen's job to go out and find somebody. He'll find somebody he thinks they can play. But even then, fate comes into play a lot of times. Take Jackson Dart. Let him keep doing what he's doing. He's going to get laid out. He's going to be another concussion. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Who's to say that Lane Kiffin's prize quarterback everybody thinks he's going to get? He might get laid out and be out for a couple of weeks with a concussion. You don't get so much of a break now, especially SEC is going to the 9-conference game model next year. You don't get any breaks. So if you lose your quarterback 2-3 weeks in, nobody's going to have any sympathy for you. And I say this, when they come back from concussion, if you're the opponent on my schedule, we're going to put a hit on you and try to put you out for another 2-3 more weeks. Hey, man, nothing personal. That's just the name of the game. We're trying to advance just like you. And just because your name say LSU on the chest, don't mean nothing to us. You face us and nameless, and we're going to hit whatever we see. So not to say that Kiffen won't do it. He should have more success there than he's had up to this point. But then again, not really. He hadn't done a whole lot before he got to Ole Miss. Now, all of a sudden, you build a program in your image, and the first chance somebody throw a little money at you, you want to vote. Now, one thing he did say, he talked about the championship legacy of LSU. He never said that about Ole Miss. So basically, he never believed you don't have to sell LSU the way he had to sell Ole Miss. So the logical thinking is that he can put together a better team at Ole Miss because the recruiting is so much different there than it's going to be anywhere else. I disagree. Players are not loyal now. They will go anywhere if they feel like they have a chance to play. And now that they get NIL money, it don't matter. Years ago, I would see all these things people are saying about Lane Kiffen and going to LSU and how much of an advantage that is. That shit don't mean anything anymore. So while people are all hung up into that, if he don't find a quarterback, he's going to be just like Brian Kelly. And within 2 years, he's going to be out the door. And then you're going to see the governor back on the TV talking about we don't want to pay for these fair performances. So let's see how this goes. Kiffen, is he going to be great or is he going to flame out real quick? I mentioned the fact if he goes 8-4 last year, they had a guy come on, what's his name, Conscious Cookie Monster or something. He basically saying that what I said, people would turn on him if he loses the Alabama game. So he's got a lot of pressure on him that he didn't have at Ole Miss, and he was steadily building that program. And now he pisses it away for $2 million more. How many millions you need? I think Kiffen's probably made in his lifetime $45, $50 million. What's another million? What's that going to do? For all the stress he's about to get. All right. Okay, he's distracted by sports. What is the end? Man, who cares about it? I mean, you can't do nothing about it. We talk about what's here and now. So the end of the world and all that, I can't do anything about that. All I can do is die once. That's it. You ain't worry about the rest of it. But we're talking sports on this channel. If that's what you want to do, great. Otherwise, we got no rap for you. The only reason I read that because most of the time I get good comments and I read them out loud, like from old JC here. And I don't see Selmo today, but that's okay. I appreciate you chiming in, but I can't worry about the end of the world. The end of the world right now is what we're going to do about these college football playoffs. That's the end of the world right now. We're talking about the hit on Jackson Dart. Most of you guys are still saying that was clean. And I'm touched by that because these modernist players, they feel like that was a dirty shot. I don't think it was a dirty shot. And I don't think it was vicious enough. What he should have really done was drive his ass through the bench. You want to run down the sideline like that? Okay, and expose yourself. Okay, we're going to hit you. So not only if he hit him, he should have put a little bit more emphasis on him and pushed him to the point where he ended up in the bench. Still would have been a clean play. But Dart, like I say, he better protect himself. He's going to get killed. So that's my thing on that. Right. Well, we appreciate it. I can't even see your name. Yeah, or something like that. I can't see as good as I want to. But these damn things on. JC says, Indiana versus Ohio State. Who do you think will win the game? That is interesting because one of those teams is going to get a bye and the other one's going to get a home game. Indiana got the home game last year, I believe. Or did they go to Notre Dame? I can't remember which one. I think I would rather have the home game instead of the bye so I can keep playing. You see what happened to Oregon last year? Once you sit down, you lose a lot. And you don't have time to make up for any slow starts. There's no more tomorrow. So I want to be in rhythm when I hit the playoffs. But who do I think is going to win? I think it's going to be closer than what people think. Ohio State's going to be the favorite because Ohio State's got the name, they got the championship, they got all of that. Indiana don't have that. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think if Indiana comes out and they start turning the ball over, then they can get run off. And the same thing happened with Ohio State. They do a bad game. But I don't think it's going to be that way. I think it's going to be played straight up. And I think Ohio State will find a way to win this game. But again, it don't hurt Indiana at all if they do lose because they're going to get a home game at worst for the playoffs. Ohio State will get a bye. But I will say this, JC, I don't think Ohio State is the best team. They had the easiest road out of everybody up to this point. Yeah, they beat Michigan. That's just the rivalry they're going to have to play every year. And we understand that. And Michigan, this is the performance they had the other day was the performance I was expecting last year. So for them to lose to Michigan last year, that was not acceptable. But I think Indiana, more than likely, is going to upset Ohio State. But I think Ohio State will find a way to win it. But at the very least, if you're a gambler, I think that Ohio State will not cover. In other words, if you give Indiana plus 5 or 6, whatever it is, take Indiana on that. Then you probably win that bet. That's just the way I see that. But it's going to be a good game, and it's good to see different teams in there besides the same school you see all the time. Now, we would have had Texas A&M versus Alabama, but they just can't seem to step up at the right time. And Texas, even though they stumble and bumble, they are still a dangerous team because they can run. And then if you have a good game offensively like they had against A&M, then they can pull that out, which puts Texas in position to jump some of those teams we think are going to go to the playoffs in the SEC. Now, even though they got, 3 losses? I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be high up, at least in the top 15. I can see that. They lost to Ohio State, which is 1. Georgia's 2 or 3. And then they lost to, who the hell else beat Texas A&M? All the teams that they lost to were highly ranked. Then you come back and beat Texas A&M, that makes you look real good. Now, by Lane Kiffen leave Ole Miss, that may put Ole Miss's position in jeopardy because you know what they did to Florida State a couple years ago. It's not inconceivable to think that they won't do the same thing to Ole Miss after losing their coach. So it's a wait and see on that one. But you say No, I don't think Georgia's going to be the favorite to win it, but I think Georgia is probably going to beat Alabama the second time around. But they usually get snake bitten against Alabama, so don't be surprised if Alabama actually wins that game. But if they do beat Alabama, that's the third loss for Alabama. And like I told you about Brian Kelly, he's no more than a carpetbagger to those people down in LSU. Same thing with the board at Alabama. If he loses, there's going to be people going to be calling for his job, and no more because he's not from there. And it's just the reality you have to deal with. And it's something to keep an eye on. But it's going to be very interesting to see how that thing unfolds. But yeah, I just want to come on this morning and talk about the fire coaches, hit on Jackson Dart, and a little bit about these playoffs. Right now, most of you still are saying that that was a clean hit. I agree. And I think we get the second rankings released tonight. It's going to be interesting to see what the committee does with Ole Miss. I think they set up for a fall, just like what they did with Florida State. And that would ease the burden from the committee of trying to squeeze Notre Dame in there. I don't care how many games, how good Notre Dame looks now. If you end up tied with Miami with the same record and they beat you head to head, shouldn't be any more conversation about who deserves. I don't give a damn how you look now. But when I got you on the field, matchups make the difference in sports. When I got you on the field head to head, I beat your ass. So ain't no way in the world that you should be able to jump over me in the playoffs. And that's just the way it is. But they're going to find a way to do it because they always give Notre Dame this high favor over everybody else. And it's not fair. They don't even have to play a conference schedule. Everybody else does. So all you got to do is sign 12 weak sisters of the poor, and you can end up in the playoffs if you Notre Dame. As long as they allow Notre Dame to pimp the system like that, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm going to keep on pimping. And that's just the way it is. But I can go deep into that. I'm not going to get into that too much. Horn is sound, so I got to go sign in and go to work. But I appreciate you guys chiming in with me. And I want to keep an eye on some of these new hires at these colleges. Some interesting names are popping up. And the big story tomorrow is probably going to see just how far Ole Miss drops because they lost their coach. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, wherever you are in the world, have a great day. It's been Sports for Real with Coach Hall. And I didn't get into it today, but my Steelers, big problems right now, man. Tomlin, they calling to fire him in the stands, and he didn't respond to it. But he's got to hear stuff like that. You want me gone? Hell, I'll leave. You don't want me, I go somewhere else and come back and whoop you. But the thing about that is, it's like Mark Stoops at Kentucky. You can get stale in one place, and it can be time to move on. So if they don't remove him, he might just remove himself. Because remember, Pittsburgh is not the place to fire coaches. He don't want his name attached to that, so he might just resign just to avoid that label. But we'll see if Pittsburgh is able to turn it around his last 5 games of the season. They're going to have to. Otherwise, it's going to be some sad news coming from somebody's direction up north. And we'll be waiting to see on that. But got Baltimore